Next up, the side chest. He's not flexing the calves properly, needs to work on that pose, and he's not showing off the side of the legs the way he should. He simply doesn't know how to do this pose properly. He doesn't have the practice. Coach Greg, and in today's video, Larry Wheels to compete in classic physique. And so if you've been following Larry Wheels, you know that he's no longer taking PDs, he's only on HRT, he's downsizing, trying to get smaller.
You can tell mine's kind of slimming down a bit as I haven't deadlifted in about 6 weeks. I'm coming up with a small back strain.
And so Larry's trying to slim down his waist. You need to get a small waist, wide shoulder, get the X frame, and so he hasn't deadlifted in 6 weeks. And he says, look at the difference it's made. My waist getting tiny. He's downsizing, getting smaller, but his muscles, they're still popping. They still look massive. And so far, it's working. He does look like he's getting a more classic physique.
And then the first thing I noticed is not my back getting thinner, but my waist. Yeah. Everything, I get more of a V tape, which is nice for aesthetics, but it's not good for heavy lifting.
And so what he notices is his back, it's not getting any thinner, it's not getting smaller, it's not losing size, simply his waistline getting tighter. And so that's going to give him an even more impressive X frame and give him the illusion of having a classic physique.
Unusual for me. We're going to do isolation workout first, and then we're going to finish with deadlifts. So I haven't done that in a very long time. Last time I did something like this was when I was getting on stage. So we're talking well over 4 years ago.
And so rather than starting with deadlifts, there is going to do an isolation workout first and then end with the deadlifts. The last time he did this was when he prepared for his first ever bodybuilding competition, of which he weighed around 268 pounds. But remember, Larry Wheel, very tall, just over 6'1", and so his weight class for classic physique as an amateur, 232 pounds. And if he were to turn pro, he would then be added an additional 10 pounds and could weigh 242. And you might be thinking, no way could Larry make that weight class. But remember, his last bodybuilding competition, he wasn't truly shredded. He did not have the conditioning of, say, Brandon Harding or James English, who were both peeled head to toe. Coupled with the fact that he's only on HRT, he's going to lose some muscle, and so you have to expect that Larry will be able to make that weight class. And if you look at classic physique, the taller physiques, the Logan Franklins, the Chris Bumsteads, perhaps Larry Wheels, these are the guys that you are immediately drawing your eyes to. Very tall, massive guys, lots of muscle. But what about his aesthetics, his balance, his shape, his symmetry? We all know Larry Wheels can get shredded. The guy walks around single-digit body fat as a power lifter, arm wrestler, strongman competitor. Guy can do anything he puts his mind to. But what about classic physique? How will he in fact look once he gets up on stage in dialed-in condition? Well, he gives us a preview. He's quite literally taking us through the poses of a classic physique routine. And so I'm going to critique his routine, tell you how I think he looks, what he needs to work on, and what are his chances. And before watching his posing video, I want to give you my bias. I personally think that Larry Wheels has so much muscle that he would be a shoo-in to turn IFBB Pro. I watch a number of videos and I just can't believe the amount of size that this guy carries with that kind of conditioning. And with his small waist, I would assume that he will have no problem turning pro. But that is my personal bias, and remember that before I watch his posing video. And so I'm going to be critical, going to watch him through his posing, tell you his strengths and weaknesses, say what he needs to work on, and so let's see. Is he a shoo-in to turn pro? What do I think his chances are, and how will he do as an IFBB Pro? Now, the first thing I noticed, and this to me is a weakness for Larry Wheels, the quads don't have enough size. When you watch him in various YouTube videos, you almost always see his upper body in a tank top. You don't see the legs. And frankly, in seeing his quads, he needs to work on them. He doesn't have the necessary size that he would need to be a top classic physique professional. However, this is the amateur ranks, and in classic physique, you don't need to have monstrous quads. It helps, of course, yes, but you don't absolutely need huge legs in order to turn pro. And you can see, the guy's shredded. Very lean, vascular, has amazing condition for his off season. Guy only been off PDs for a few weeks. And if you've watched my videos before, why is it that every time I watch somebody compete, they don't know how to do a front double bicep? The biceps need to be higher than the delts. Why does everyone do front double biceps like this? And so Larry Wheels has amazing peaks of the arms, but they're below the head of the delt, and so they don't look that big. Although they're huge, massive, They don't appear to be that big. Posing is paramount. You need to know what you're doing. You need to properly display the muscle that you have. Perhaps you could put one arm over the head, arms up, and look like Z's. But what he does have is a very small waist. Guy has a tiny waist. For having that much muscle, he's huge. Wide shoulders, big arms, small waist. And so has an amazing front double bicep, just needs to tweak the posing a little bit. He could also improve the vacuum pose, blow all the air out before sucking in the waist, or blow out all the air and display the abs. The front double bicep can be done with the vacuum pose as displayed by Chris Bumstead, or you can quite literally blow out the abs as you do in a thigh abdominal and do the front double bicep by showing off the six-pack. And front lat spread, look at the thickness of the chest. Guy has massive pecs. No wonder he benches over 600 pounds. Wide shoulders, small waist, and so great front lat spread pose from Larry Wheels. Next up, the side chest. He's not flexing the calves properly, needs to work on that pose, and he's not showing off the side of the legs the way he should. He simply doesn't know how to do this pose properly. He doesn't have the practice. I do believe he has a great side chest, but he needs to work on the posing. That shoulder needs to roll back a little bit, get the chest up even higher. Guy has a ton of muscle, just needs to learn how to show it off. And so is he in fact going to compete? Well, he's practicing the posing. He's trying to see how he'll do, and he'll gauge it from there. Don't y'all think that if Larry Wheels knows he can win an IBB Pro Card in Classic that he's going to take that chance? Of course he will. The guy does every sport he's good at. Powerlift, strongman, arm wrestle, bodybuilding, and now classic physique. And so on that side chest, the foot was simply placed in the wrong position. Needs to be closer to his foot. It was placed too far back. These subtle changes can make a huge difference in displaying his physique. And from the rear, legs look pretty good. He has decent sized calves, and you can clearly see his hamstrings. And the back double bicep, you see the small waist and the thickness of the muscles and the peaks of the biceps. Looks great. However, he just got to get those arms up. Raise the elbows up 3 inches, and that will immediately improve your physique. You'll have more of an X-frame, biceps look even bigger, more detail popping out in the back double bicep. And the rear lat spread, well, you don't even need to do this pose in classic physique, but let's analyze it anyway. He looks to have a lot of muscle in the lats, but he could pull the lats out wider. Needs to get the scapulas further out, perhaps do some more stretching, work on the posing. He has lots of muscle, great detail, and so once he hits this on stage, it's going to translate very well on a classic physique stage. And look at the size of the horseshoe on this guy's tricep. Amazing. And he even hits the smile as you should be during this pose. Just needs to twist a little more, blow out some more air, get the obliques popping. But I do believe this will be a strong pose for him once he's completely dieted down. After all, the guy's going to want to be sub 5% body fat to truly get his physique to peel as Brandon Harding did and James English. Unlike Brandon and James English, who were far under their weight cap, Larry is above the weight cap, and so he needs to lose every ounce of fat and water possible in order to make that weight class. And on the thigh and abdominal, you can see his weakness is the sweep, the vastus lateralis. That needs some work. So he's going to have to put in some work in the gym to train his legs. But listen, the guy's been focused on strength, being powerful, and so if he's going to do classic physique, he can use lighter weights for higher reps, focus on time under tension, mind-muscle connection, and he can in fact build up those quads. Training for bodybuilding is in fact slightly different than training for strength, and so these weaknesses, they can improve. They won't be perfect, but he can certainly improve his physique to the level of attempting to turn pro in classic physique. And the abdominals, outstanding. For a man of this size to have this small of a waist with that much detail, this looks phenomenal. And so just imagine Larry at 4% body fat doing this same pose. His abs obliques would look fantastic, and quite clearly, they already do. And Larry's biggest strength, the chest, absolutely massive, and with that small waist, with those abdominals, if he can work on the quads, bring out the outer sweep, develop that a bit more, work and perfect his posing, I see no reason why he cannot turn IFBB Pro in classic physique. And so by continuing to stay on HRT only, I do believe he'll be able to downsize slightly in order to make the weight class, coupled with the fact that he will have to lose a significant amount of body fat as well as water during peak week. I do think he can make the weight class and give it a shot at turning IFBB Pro. And his long-term potential as an IFBB Pro competitor, I don't think he could make it to the Olympia. He already is above the weight cap, and so it's not as if he can gain a ton of muscle. Other people, they turn pro, they're under the weight class, and so if they add a lot of muscle, they can improve their physiques tremendously. Larry Wheels, who is already above the weight cap, he can't add muscle, he has to lose it. And so his chances to truly stand out on a professional stage, well, I don't think he can. I think he has a great chance to turn pro. Reminds me of a physique like Caleb von Monger. Caleb also had smaller legs and a huge upper body. Larry Wheels, very similar physique to Caleb. And so I do think he can turn pro. Hopefully, he decides to compete. Would love to see him step on a classic physique stage. And so let me know in the comment section, do you want to see Larry compete in classic? Also, will he be able to turn pro? Looking for harder than last time supplements which can help you build muscle and perhaps give you the physique? Maybe you can turn pro one day. Click the link in the description. Use code GREG, G-R-E-G, 10% off, gregdoucette.com or hgltsubs.com. Don't forget to watch the bloops, subscribe, click the bell button, comment for the algorithm. Of course, the training book, the cookbooks, the Circle Diet book, coaching plans by me and my team. Like the video if you liked it, and until next time, I'm out.